Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of On Point for today, the 17th day of April 2026. My name is Alexis Jeffers and I'm here every Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., just 1 hour, where we bring information that we feel is important to our daily lives here on the island of Nevis. And so it is always my pleasure coming here to Avon Radio 860 AM and 93.7 FM. Those are the bands on which you can receive this program. And of course, you can also check the various social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and any other social media platform that Avon Radio normally utilizes. And so this afternoon we'll get going and say good afternoon to all the folks up there in the parish of St. James. That is my favorite parish and constituency. I want to say good afternoon to my friend there, Baby Perkins, down there in Barnaby. She's a righteous listener and she always remind me of that. Of course, I want to also say good afternoon to my cousin. I say cousin, family member up there in Fountain, Idris. It was good talking to you yesterday. You say you listen from time to time, but anyway, hopefully you're listening this afternoon, and I hope you're doing well. I say good afternoon as well to Henrietta Daniel, that is the wife of our departed friend there, Shine Daniel. Good afternoon to you, Henrietta. She's also a regular listener. Ermin, I'm sure you're there serving up some food there at Caboose. I say good afternoon to you as well. Hazel and all of the other folks up there who are listening at this time. I say good afternoon to the whole of Fountain. And of course, down the range there in Brick Hill, you know, all of the favorites of mine are living down there, in, down the range, as we say, in Brick Hill. Pats and Dorrit and Courtney and all those folks down there in down the range, and all others who are listening to the sound of my voice. If I don't call your name, you know who you are and I know who you are. Yeah? Also down there in Pasha Gate over the gut. These are some famous places there in Brick Hill. And so those who live in those areas would know who I'm speaking about. Of course, up in Butlers, Mr. Clark over there in Butlers, well, I visited him earlier this week. Good to see you, sir, and continue to hold on through God's grace. And of course, Lynette, who lends her services and care to Mr. Clark. I say good afternoon to all of you, and indeed anyone else. I want to say good afternoon to June Brown Queely. She's back on island with us. I need to go and see June. As a matter of fact, she was on her feet when I saw her coming over on Wednesday, I believe it was. So it's good to see you walking and you know, have your strength and health to some extent, June. God bless you and may He continue to provide the sustenance needed for you to continue to press on. So all those who are, you know, in that particular constituency of St. James who have any challenges or difficulty at this time, I want to say good afternoon to you. We are praying for you and we are hoping for the best as well. Indeed, I go beyond St. James and throughout the entire island of Nevis, all of the different parishes. I say good afternoon to one and all. And then we go over to St. Kitts, or Sister Island, where we do have a large following over there. Not only to this program, but all of the different programmings that emanates from this particular radio station. I say good afternoon to everyone down in our sister island of St. Kitts. I say down, geographically, St. Kitts is up. But we have been saying down from, you know, from since we were a little boy, you know. I want to go beyond the shores of St. Kitts and Nevis and say good afternoon to the folks down there in Sabre Station, St. Bart's, and also French and Dutch St. Martin, U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and of course Puerto Rico, and come back further east and south, Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, go all the way down south to South America, Guyana. And just before that, we say good afternoon to the folks in Trinidad and Tobago. I do this because we do have a large number of citizens from our regional countries who are living here, and so it is important to identify with those countries because they do follow what is going on here in those neighboring countries and islands, and so we want to acknowledge them. And then we go up to the United States, of course, from South Florida all the way up the eastern seaboard and up to those smaller states like Vermont, New Hampshire, before that, Boston, or Massachusetts, but Boston is a city there. We do have some citizens there as well. And then we come further east into Tennessee, Missouri, and all those central states, all the way across to Texas, and then into the west, California, Oregon, Washington State, the whole of the United States, and the whole of Canada, and all of those cities such as Toronto, Quebec, Manitoba. I want to say good afternoon to all the folks, and good morning in some cases, who are listening to us. We welcome you. Then up in Europe, of course, England, France, Germany, all of our citizens are in those areas. And I'm doing this individually because we want to acknowledge you. We appreciate your listenership and viewership, and that is why we are doing so. And then over into Asia, of course, our friend and partner, the Republic of China, Taiwan, where we do have quite a number of our citizens there who are either studying, living, working, visiting. If you have gone there on a visit, well, enjoy. It's a lovely country. You'll have a lot of activities to partake in, and indeed you will certainly enjoy your time there, as I have done in the past as well. And so I say good morning to you there because it's just after 1 a.m. on a Saturday morning. If you're out having a good time, well, be safe and enjoy. And so we come back to the island of Davis now, and we get into other things. It's always good to start off with those introduction, at least an acknowledgement. Yeah, okay, so at this time I want to express condolences to any family who are in the bereaved column at this time. You would have lost a loved one, or there is some challenge in your family. I pray that the Lord would provide all of the necessary comfort for you. At this point in time, I want to acknowledge the family of Alpha Sybil Jeffers. All of us know Alpha. The funeral for Alpha will take place this afternoon at about, it should be at 2 p.m. And so it is my intention to go there once I'm done here. I'll be a bit late, but like they say, better late than never. And I do believe just showing up, whether you're early or late, just showing up is indicative of your support for the family and the acknowledgement of the exploits of Alpha. Alpha, of course, we know her to be a jovial person, hard-working, loving person. I believe I had my first encounters with Alpha up there at the netball complex. That complex was built, I believe, somewhere, well, it was opened, I believe, somewhere around 1985 as a young man coming up. And I say young man, I was somewhere in high school at that time. But I can recall when that Caribbean Championship was played here. I believe at that time we would have known of Alpha with her noise and, being ever so boisterous, so to speak, at the complex. And indeed, in other sporting disciplines here on the island, she would be there, and you'll hear her voice, of course. And so Alpha is being laid to rest this afternoon at 2 p.m. And so those of you who are listening to me and hearing me who did not know of this particular funeral, I want you to just hurry up, put on some clothes and run and go. And as they say, render your heart and not your garment. So you're going there to render your heart to the surviving family members and to show them that you care. But I want to single out June Daniel, who is a daughter of Alpha, and also Tamish, who I would have worked with. She works down there at the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation. So those are her two daughters, plus their other children. And I want to say, express my condolences to all of the children on the passing of your mom. And we really sympathize with you, and we'll be happy to come and lend our support, of course. Tomorrow is the funeral service of Kathleen Allen from up there in Rollins. She'll be laid to rest tomorrow, I believe, at about 1 o'clock over there at the Gingerland Methodist Church. So whoever can make it, certainly go out and support the family there as well. Okay, so anyone who is currently at the Alexandria Hospital, I want to express best wishes to you, and pray that you'll have a speedy recovery, because whatever the circumstances is or are, I want to say that the Lord is always in the midst and He will see you through. And we want you to be back out on your feet to make your further contributions towards the development of the island of Nevis. So whatever the circumstances are, just be patient with your body, patient with yourself, and of course the healing will take place. And then you'll be up and about and making your contributions once again. So I pray that all will be well in that regard. Okay. Moving along from there, public service announcement. I want to put this in again, this plug, for May 25th. That is Whit Monday. And I did say every week when I come, I will go ahead and make this announcement so that at least we are constantly reminding the general public about this particular event. It is our Whit Monday medical fundraiser. We've been undertaking this particular activity. This will be our 5th hosting of it, and we've done a reasonably good job up to this point in time. As I said before, I believe we have raised in excess of $70,000, and all of those monies, once the expenses have been accounted for, then we would dish out the remaining amount to recipient or medical recipients, persons who are undergoing certain medical challenges that need some financing. It will not always be enough, but it is a start, and it's a token that shows that we do care, and we are willing to go out and exert the effort on that particular day to ensure that we raise as much funds as possible to give to such persons. I am yet to announce the recipients. I will say though publicly there's one that we know for sure will be among the persons to receive a donation from that particular event. And of course I will say now June Brown Queely, I mentioned her name before. She's now on island, and I'm sure it's just temporary in terms of she coming in and then going back for further treatment. So we would want to ensure that we can provide her with something once we are done with this particular event. Now this event, like I said, Whit Monday, starts at 6 a.m. and go down to 11 p.m. So it's an all-day affair. We will have breakfast from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then at 10 a.m. to 12 noon, we'll have brunch. So they say brunch is between lunch and breakfast, or between breakfast and lunch. So that is brunch, and then we'll have lunch from 12 noon until 4 p.m. And then at 4 p.m. then the dinner menu kicks in. And the dinner menu, as I said before, would include everything from breakfast, everything from brunch, everything from lunch, and then that is called dinner. And then any new thing that comes onto the menu at that time. Because we'll have food all day. Even from the start of the day, we'll have food, light and heavy stuff for you to consume, yeah? And the musical entertainment has been, pretty much confirmed. We have confirmed the New Vibes Band. We have confirmed the Grand Masters Band. We have confirmed Destiny Band. Those are some guys from up there in Brick Hill area, of Snowflakes and the Boys, so to speak. And then of course we have DJ Wet Dot, DJ Lalbo, DJ Zimba, who is a perennial DJ on I think he has been there from the onset, DJ Zimba that is. And then of course Itebulous, and now we have X-Man as well. That is the guy Delison Roper. He has come on board as well to provide some entertainment. And I have to always big up Darren Sutton, because his system is what we normally would use up there, and he has been there for us throughout the entire process from the get-go until now. And so Darren, I want to thank you. And then like I said before, I will be acknowledging all of the folks who normally provide food items, donations, who work in the food stall and in the bar and so forth. All of those folks will be acknowledged publicly as well. Yeah, so that is what we're working towards on with Monday, that medical fundraiser. And of course I jumped over something here, but it's okay. I can backtrack a little bit because it's also at the point in the show when we acknowledge those who are celebrating birthdays as well. And I want to first of all say happy birthday to Gloria Dida. Gloria Dida. I was going to say her nickname before I said Dida, but anyway, I can say it still. Those of you who are not familiar with Gloria, you must be familiar with Gogo from Newcastle. She lives up there in New York now. So, Gogo, if you're hearing me, happy birthday to you. And I want to wish you all the best. And as I always tell my listeners, well, if you have $100, spend 50 on yourself today. Go on out and have a wonderful time and ensure that you're enjoying this as if it is the last. But we're wishing you many, many more years of celebration. But just celebrate as if, you know, celebration is going out of style. Have a good time, you know. And then I went to Facebook and I saw this name, Quindicia Jones. That is a familiar person. He's always on Facebook. I know her well also. I want to say happy birthday to you as well, Quindicia. And may God bless you and He continue to provide you with all of the good health and wellness that you need to live to see many more years of celebration. And those who I did not call, I want to say happy birthday to you today as well. I don't have many more or no more on my list for today, but I do have some persons who are celebrating tomorrow and Sunday and the like, so I'll just mention. But before I get to tomorrow, let me say belated birthday greetings to my cousin up there in England, Marilyn Nisbet Liebert. That's the sister of Claude Nisbet. And I want to say happy belated birthday to you, Marilyn. I would have seen some pictures on Facebook, so I know you went out and had a good time with your mom, Pearl. Good afternoon or good evening to you as well, Pearl. They're up there in England, so they're a few hours ahead of us. And I say to you, if you're having a cup of tea now and some biscuits, well, enjoy while you're listening to the show. But I am praying and hoping, Marilyn, that you'll see many more years of celebration as well. Now tomorrow is the birthday of James Weeks, you know, that guy who is associated with the swimming program here on the island of Nevis. James is an athlete and he is involved in quite a number of things in terms of swimming, cycling and so forth. And so James is celebrating tomorrow. James, we wish you all of the best when it comes tomorrow, and God bless you and God be with you so that you can continue to provide your services to our young people who depend on you, and you've been doing a marvelous job, so I wish you well into the future as well. Also on Sunday, Alset Myers, those of you who know Alset, is celebrating her birthday on Sunday. Alset, happy birthday in advance and God bless you when it comes. And then of course on Monday, Lorna Daniel from up there in Fountain is celebrating her birthday on Monday. Lorna, and those of you who are not familiar with Lorna, well, Lorna has worked for many years down there at the post office there in Charlestown. So she's celebrating on Monday, and I wish you well on your birthday, Lorna, when it comes on Monday. And may God bless you with many more years. And then, of course, this is a significant figure, a person who everybody would know by now here on the island of Nevis. Linnell Nolan is celebrating on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, Linnell, I want to wish you happy birthday in advance, and I probably will get close to you to wish you happy birthday as well personally, but I'm doing so publicly at this point in time. And so God bless you and continue to do all of the community related work that you've been doing. You are connected to and associated with the Returning National Society here on the island of Nevis, and you're an integral part of that. And so we're wishing you many more years of celebration so that you can be around to assist in that regard. How about that? Well, I know the Lord will bless you accordingly. Huh? Okay, so that's it. And all those who are celebrating, I say happy birthday to you in advance. Huh? Okay, let's move on from there. Let's see. Weather. Well, the weather outside is it's kind of overcast and so forth. Thought I heard some thunder earlier before I came here, but it has been a hot week. And that being said, I want us all to be extra careful during these so-called quote-unquote heat wave. And so it is important for all of us to stay hydrated and Do not wait until you're thirsty to say you're going to drink some water or drink some fluid. And I'm saying to you that you want to protect yourself during this hot and humid times, and make sure that you also look out for the elderly and your children. Make sure they are also hydrated. Take a bottle of water or container of some liquid with you. Not alcohol in this kind of weather, but take some kind of liquid with you so that you can have that to sip on, or whatever it takes to stay hydrated. And in terms of your clothing, the clothes that you wear, you'll probably want to wear some light colored clothes in this hot and humid weather so that you can stay a bit cool. And that is just some, some tips that I'm giving to you at this point in time. We are hoping and praying for weather, some, some rain soon. Maybe it's around the corner coming, but when it comes, it will be a blessing as well. But until such time, be cautious, take care of yourself, and do what is necessary to stay as healthy as you can and stay as hydrated as you can as well. Okay? Okay, moving along from there. Charlene Shatter Martin. I wonder if the whole of Nevis are familiar with Charlene Martin, lady we call Shatter. Well, she is in the news these days, and she has been appointed the Leeward Island Cricket Board Women's Coordinator of Cricket. That is a huge accomplishment on Charlene's part, because if anybody knows Charlene, you know Charlene has come from humble beginnings. And of course, she has been around the game of cricket for some time, meaning she has been a scorer, she has been a coach, she has been a mentor, she has been an administrator in some shape and form, a manager, but she has been around cricket in all different capacities. And so she has been appointed to this position by the Leeward Island Cricket Board. And so I want to congratulate Charlene Martin. We say Shatter when we see her, and she accepts her name gleefully. So Charlene, from me to you, I'm saying congratulations to you, and I'm sure all those in the cricket fraternity are saying the same thing as well too. And so we are happy for you. You have certainly climbed the ranks in the sporting discipline of cricket, and so we want to say continue to press on, continue to do the good things that you have done in the past. You'll do in this position and in future positions as well, because it is a stepping stone and a ladder that you climb, so which means you perhaps someday will be in some capacity serving with the West Indies Cricket Board as well, because I believe your name is well known, your personality has taken you places, and so we are hoping that you will continue to climb the ladder of excellence and get to that point where you can reach to the pinnacle as well. So we wish you well, and may God bless you, and may He continue to provide you with the strength and the knowledge, the wisdom, and the temperament that comes with these particular positions. Yeah, so we wish you well. Congratulations once again, and may God continue to bless you as well. Okay, so let's move on, and so we go into a few things quickly because time is running out on us, so let's go quickly. Last week I would have touched on this matter pertaining to the guarantee that we are still waiting for from the federal government, that is required for us to access that a loan that has already been approved by Taiwan ICDF. And those of you who are not familiar with the Taiwan ICDF, well, ICDF stands for International Cooperation Development Fund. That is the agency, the foreign agency that deals with foreign governments or foreign entities on behalf of the government and people of the Republic of China, Taiwan. And so they are involved in technical cooperation, lending of funds, and also investments, overseas investments, that kind of thing. And many persons may have asked, well, why did we go to Taiwan ICDF and not to a commercial bank here, for example, for that particular loan? Well, I'll say to you that based on the interest rate that we are getting from Taiwan ICDF, which is about 3 or 3.5%, I can submit to you and say categorically that you will not find that type of percentage or a loan that is issued to us as a government at that particular interest rate of 3.5%. Yeah, what you'll probably get is somewhere around 6%, maybe up to 7% for capital loans such as this, and the size of this loan. You would not find anything like that here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Perhaps regionally you may find a little bit better than 6%, maybe, because I know I spoke to an entity out of Jamaica, and at one point, maybe about 3 years ago, and they were saying somewhere around 6% as well. So at this particular interest rate, and then we have a long-standing relationship with Taiwan ICDF, long-standing in terms of diplomatic relations, but also we have had a number of loans which are considered quote-unquote soft loans. Why they're called soft loans is because of the interest rate. 3% is small compared, and so you cannot go wrong. And one of the things I can say to you, based on us as an administration, our job and our mandate is to look out for the best interests of the people of Nevis. So if we find a rate of 3.5% as against 6%, it is important and incumbent upon us as a government to go for what is best when it comes to these types of loans and what is in the best interest of the people of Nevis. And so 3.5% thereabout, we would have approached Taiwan ICDF. And indeed, I want to give somewhat of a chronological report as to what has transpired with this particular loan. Because you see, there are persons out there who are still contending that we are not serious about this project. There are some out there who are saying that this project will not happen. There are some out there who are saying that we are bluffing the people of Nevis because no such work has been done, no such thing has been done. And it is quite troubling, yes, but I speak for myself. I personally will not be chasing around all of these issues and trying to defend every issue that is out there. The persons on the other side are persons out there who are, bent on creating problems and creating difficulties and creating diversions, will always come up with something that is opposing to what the government is seeking to accomplish. And so it would be counterproductive to answer to every single question out there. What I'll say from my standpoint is that when I put my hands to the plow, I'm not pulling back. When I go out to seek for anything as it relates to the island of Nevis, the mandate that I have had over the years and the interest that I have as a Nevisian is to look out for the best for Nevis and the people of Nevis, and to make sure it gets done, because Nevis will be the beneficiary of whatever effort we exert. And so when I hear these negatives and you hear people saying, oh, this project is not going anywhere, it's not going to be done, I say that is the farthest thing from the truth. But like I said, it's not every day and every issue that is brought to the table by those on the opposite side, or those who are against progress for Nevis, that you'd want to address. But anyway, I recall, though, based on the timeline that I'm looking at, that we would have engaged the Republic of China Taiwan through its embassy here locally somewhere around December of 2023. That is when we would have gone and made our initial or the most serious push towards seeking the loan for this particular project. And when I say this particular project, the components of the project that will be funded through the Taiwan ICDF funding. And so when we reached out to the ambassador then and also indicated to him what our interest was, of course, they would have asked us to provide them with some details or some information. So those requests came back in December of 2023, and so they would have asked for the design of the project, or whatever semblance of a design we had then, and the anticipated work to be done, that is the scope of work to be done. And then the proposed budget was requested along with the timeline for the execution and completion of the expansion and rehabilitation project of the Van Samri International Airport. And so we were able to do that. And of course, by way of reminder, let me remind the general public what the entire project entails. Now, not all of the components that I'll tell you will be handled by that loan that we'll be getting from the Republic of China, Taiwan through the ICDF agency. But of course, what is anticipated up there at the Van Samri International Airport with this expansion and reconstruction project are as follows. The extension of the runway from 4,000 feet to just about 6,070 feet of runway. The resurfacing of the runway, that is including the strengthening of the runway, because of course we are accommodating larger jets. And then of course new lighting for the runway, of course, expansion and reconstruction of the existing parking apron, which is on the north of the terminal building. That will be torn up, that will be expanded, that will be resurfaced. And then of course construction of new apron. And just to be specific, the new apron will be built on the south of the runway, which is somewhere in the region of where the existing Tire World is. And that apron will accommodate up to 50 of those business jets. And it should be able to accommodate at least 2 of those Embraer 175 at a given time. So it will be a brand new parking area, an expanded parking area, and an area that should accommodate, like I said, up to 50 of those business jets. Of course, we'll be renovating and expanding the passenger terminal. The existing terminal, based on all of the analysis that has been done, the structure is sound, but the terminal is inadequate. So we're expanding to the east and expanding to the west. And so it will be a much larger passenger terminal when it's all said and done. Keep in mind, we are seeking to accommodate at any given time in excess of 150 persons at any given time. And so within that passenger terminal, with the expansion to be done, you'll have ticketing counters, you'll have restaurants, you'll have a departure area. Of course, you'll have the check-in area, you have the arrival area, where we'll be removing the customs portion of it where packages are received. That will be removed because we'll be constructing a brand new customs building. But let's stick with the terminal. Of course, once the expansion of that terminal is done, it will be able to offer all of the necessary have all the necessary amenities connected to health and veterinary services and so forth. So agriculture will have a presence, and also the Ministry of Health will have a presence there as well. And so we'll also be constructing a brand new fire and rescue facility, or we can just say a fire hall. And along with that will be an addition or the procurement of 2 brand new fire tenders. And of course some renovation will be done to the control tower as well. And then we will be refencing the entire compound, meaning brand new fencing. Almost 14,000 feet of fencing will be done to ensure that we have that type of protection up there. Indeed, there will be a brand new hangar that will be built, a jet hangar, and of course a brand new fixed base operation, we say FBO for short. That is where the services connected to those business jets will be handled. So persons who arrive on those business jets will no longer have to go into the passenger terminal. The passenger terminal will be mostly or primarily for commercial jets that will come into Van Samri and bring passengers who would use that particular facility. But with the fixed base operation, of course, you will have that will be used for those private jets or business jet operators and passengers. So you'll have your customs and security and the likes will be in the fixed base operation as well. Of course, I did say we'll have the construction of a brand new customs building, and then indeed a brand new fuel farm where we'll be able to accommodate or have the capacity to hold up to 100,000 gallons of avgas, West aviation gas as it's called, for those smaller turboprop engines, and then of course for the jet type engine, which include the business jets and also those commercial jets. The storage capacity of jet fuel will be about 200,000 gallons, and so those features will be available up there. Indeed, the new road that will be constructed will also be a part of this entire project, and indeed improvement of the drainage systems in and around the Van Samre International Airport. I believe there are about 9 different guts up there, different basins up there that have to be addressed. So all that will be done with this particular project. It is a massive project. It is a project that will create employment from start to end, and also during the operation of the airport. And I say that because it is an important project in many ways. And some will ask, oh, is it feasible, or if it's not? I will say it is a feasible project in many ways. Why I say that? Currently, the situation that exists at Van Samre International Airport is one that will not get us anywhere or any further than where we are. There are a couple of turboprop aircraft that comes in there currently, and we appreciate all the operators that are coming in and out of the Van Samre International Airport, but that won't get us anywhere. If we are to improve our tourism product here on the island of Nevis, of course, the infrastructure that you provide must be consistent with your efforts to improve the tourism product. And so you look at neighboring islands, and some may say we should not look at neighboring islands. Of course we have to. It is a competition all around us. There are competition coming from all of the neighboring islands, because all of the neighboring islands are seeking to improve their airport infrastructure. Some have built new facilities, some are currently building new facilities, and some are improving their existing facilities, whether it's St. Martin, whether it's Anguilla, whether it's Antigua, whether it's Dominica, who is building a brand new airport, whether it's St. Lucia, whether it's wherever you are. St. Vincent would have just opened a few years ago their brand new facility. And when one looks at what has happened in those islands that have built brand new facilities or improving their facilities, you have seen an improvement, an increase in the overall airlift into those countries. And I'll say this categorically, that these islands and countries cannot boast of having much more than we have. As a matter of fact, in some cases, I believe we do have more than what they're currently offering. Yeah? And so I am confident that with this particular investment, we will see a huge increase in what we have to offer and what we will be able to accomplish here on the island of Nevis. For example, I pull up something here on my phone, right? I just went to my phone quickly because some data I would have gotten out of Anguilla, for example. Anguilla is a good example because Anguilla has done some improvement. They built a new terminal. They have expanded their parking areas, and you've seen, you do some tracking on a daily basis, and you see, you know, jets going into Anguilla, of course. But I will say Anguilla has done what they had to do, and they're not like some here on the island of Nevis who are sort of like doubting Thomases. Yeah, we are a positive set of people with a positive mindset here in the Concerned Citizens movement, who are currently the government of the island of Nevis, and we do believe in what we are doing, and we know once we are to achieve and accomplish this particular development, it will be the start of, or I say start, let me stick with the word start, of good things to come. And why I say start is because we have had inquiries from persons who have tremendous interest in the island of Nevis, and they keep asking day after day, when are we going to get started and when we'll complete this airport reconstruction, because that will give them an idea as to what they are capable of doing in terms of investment and when they would want to proceed with an investment in the island of Nevis. But what I'm seeing here for January for Anguilla, for example, they would have seen a total aircraft movement of 2,638. That is aircraft landing and taking off. Yeah, and they break it down in terms of jet movement, 897 jet movements, and 1,741 propeller or piston aircraft movement. They break it down. Inbound passengers, inbound and outbound passengers total 8,973 passengers. This is for the month of January alone. And then, of course, inbound, break it down further, 4,289 passengers inbound and 4,684 passengers outbound, for a total of 8,973 passengers. Now, I bring those numbers, and some may say, oh, but what's happening with Nevis? Nevis don't have the type of facility right now to accommodate these jets. And that is why we are so adamant that we must have this particular project. Now, I raised the issue last week of this guarantee that is still not approved by the federal government. Yeah? And indeed, we have done our work, and a substantial amount of work has gone into this particular project thus far. And I started talking about the involvement of Taiwan ICDF. They themselves are at the point where they're waiting for this guarantee. They came in January of 2024. Or not came, but they confirmed with us that they would like to come to Nevis to look at the facility based on the various correspondence we would have had throughout 2023 or up to the end of 2023, and also what they anticipate would have been a good idea, let me put it that way, a good idea to come to Nevis to see exactly what we are seeking to accomplish. They came. As a matter of fact, they came in March of 2024. They brought a team here to Nevis, and they would have toured the Van Sammer International Airport. They would have met with different concrete providers here like Lefco and Dan. They went to all of the quarries. They went to the different business entities here, TDC Hosford. They went throughout the length and breadth of Nevis to examine, to see what we have to offer, and to gauge as to what market prices are like and that kind of thing. Yeah. So they came and they had their look, and they also would have questioned us and examined our ability to acquire the lands, because whatever funds they would make available, certainly it would not have been for the acquisition of lands, but more so for the exact purpose that it's for, and that is for the reconstruction of the Van Sammer International Airport. So they came, they had their look, and then they went back to Taiwan, and we've had a number of exchanges in terms of them seeking information, them updating us. Last time I checked, I deliberately went and counted the amount of emails that were exchanged between the Taiwan ICDF and myself, for example, because as the lead and coordinator of this particular project, I was the one who was pretty much front and center in ensuring that whatever information they requested, they would have gotten. So I believe I counted somewhere around 243 exchanges, yeah, over the period of time. That is from, let's say, late 2023 up until late 2025. There haven't been much exchanges to date other than phone calls to find out when will they be able to get this particular guarantee. But we would have been intense work. And so it was tedious. It was perhaps frustrating at times, because they would request something today, and then tomorrow they would request something else. So you had to be on the ball, so to speak, to make sure that we get them the information necessary. And so we were able to cover a lot of grounds in a short period of time, and thus the approval for this loan would have come in late 2025. As a matter of fact, they were back here in November of 2025, the 4th to the 6th of November, if my memory serves me right, and they would have sat with the Ministry of Finance. They would have met with the legal department. They would have met, well, of course, they would have met with our consultants, Perez Engineering. Of course, I was a part of all of those meetings, along with the current project manager, who is Michael Perkins. We would have met, and they would have assured us that if they were to get that guarantee by the 15th of December 2025, by the 15th of January 2026, drawdowns would be available to get the project started. I want us to be clear on that. That is what they assured us, and that is why they're still in a waiting pattern, so to speak, because that guarantee has not been had up to this point in time. So they assured us, if you get that guarantee on the by the 15th of December, by January 15th, 2026, we would have had access to our first drawdown. And so the project could have started already. And so last week I did mention that we have been waiting on the federal government. Why we haven't gotten such, I gave an idea as to what I was told. I haven't seen anything official in terms of in writing, but my understanding is that there is some concerns from the Ministry of Finance and syndicates that if they were to give this particular guarantee, it would take the federal government debt to GDP ratio beyond the 60% threshold that the World Bank and IMF and those agencies out there have suggested and recommended for developing countries. But also, it's important to do research, because even though that is the set threshold or the recommended threshold, there's absolutely nothing wrong with any country or island going beyond such. Meaning, an infrastructure such as the airport. This is not taking a loan for something that is minuscule or something that is insignificant. This is for a project that is a revenue generating project that will pay back for itself. And so if you incur some debt in 2026, for example, to improve your airport infrastructure, in this case the Van Shammer International Airport, we understand what the spin-off from that would be. I did say earlier that it will generate revenue or generate employment from start to finish. It will generate revenue from start to finish during the construction phase. And then beyond that is where we'll see additional generation of revenue through the operation of that particular facility. Generation of revenue through taxes from tickets, generation of revenue from departure taxes, generation of revenue from landing fees, lighting fees, navigational fees, parking fees, rental of space within the airport terminal. Well, the fixed base operation will generate revenue from which NASPA will get their share of revenue as well. Revenue will be generated from fuel sale, which is big business at any airport. And of course, custom duties and the likes will be collected. So there are a number of areas through which revenue will be generated through that facility. Are there expenses? Of course there'll be expenses, but of course there'll be significant revenue generation as well. And so you tell yourself and ask yourself why, but you tell yourself also that through this generation of revenue, then the airport will be able to pay for itself, because airport are big businesses throughout the world. I mean, if there's an airport out there that is losing money, I suppose I need to do that research, but all I can tell you is that based on all of the areas through which revenue can be generated within or through an airport operation, I know airports are big businesses throughout the world. And that is why persons are expanding. Countries are expanding their facilities. Countries are improving their facilities, and countries are building new facilities. It is that gateway that provide for future investments, future connections to the island or the country, and no country can succeed or meet their true potential or achieve their true potential without such facility. And I always make the comparison with that particular facility over there at Wally, the Wally Water Taxi facility. Before that, persons were coming into Charlestown, and some were even frustrated with the length of travel and other reasons. But of course, with that particular facility, you have seen an uptick in movements through that facility, and of course the revenue generation is there. I want to go further and say that I am absolutely certain that there are persons who would have cancelled their trip to Nevis as a result of learning about the different stops that they have to make to get to Nevis. For example, someone traveling or a family traveling, husband and wife, 3 children, 4 children, whatever the case might be, traveling out of California into Miami, for example, to head down to Nevis. They leave California at 12 o'clock tonight, get to, well, I said 12 o'clock their time, which is about 3, 4 o'clock our time in the morning. But let me stick with California time. They leave at 12 o'clock in the night, get to Miami around 7:30 in the morning, sit around and wait until about 10:30, 11 o'clock to fly down to St. Kitts. When they get down to St. Kitts, then of course they have to take a boat over to Nevis. Meanwhile, they're moving with baggages for all of the travelers. Husband and wife, 4 children. When someone looks at that, and I can speak of the elderly person as well, traveling that route and different routes where they have to go to various points to get to Nevis. Of course, they'll see that as a Herculean task and tell themselves, I'm going elsewhere. So the data may not be available to me today. It may be available to someone, I don't know. But I'm telling you, my sense tells me that persons have been cancelling as a result of knowing what the journey could be or the journey has been in the past. Yeah? And that is what we're trying to overcome and avoid. Because Nevis offers amenities that can be found some places, and it also offers amenities that are not found in other places. So we are unique in many ways. And so Nevis is a sought after place. But we have to make it easy for persons to get here. And so I am here this afternoon once again, raising this issue and raising it so that it can be heard by those on the other side there in St. Kitts, that you have gone ahead and done what you have to do to improve your infrastructure in St. Kitts, whether it's the second pier that you have built, whether you're going to be building your Bastia High School, whether you're going to be constructing that love project you have over there. Whatever project you're doing, you're seeking the financing to do so, and you have made the space for you to do so in terms of increasing the overall national debt by over $425 million. You have done so in recent times. We are saying that we want to improve our infrastructure as well. It will be a benefit to both St. Kitts and Nevis. But more so, Nevis needs that particular injection. And so, if it is that you are able to make a loan available to the Marriott Hotel, $27 million interest-free, we don't knock you for that as a federal government. You do what you have to do to protect jobs and protect an institution. We want to do likewise in Nevis, and so we are asking for one thing, and that is that signed guarantee that the Republic of China, Taiwan, ICDF, is seeking to have and need at this time to proceed. That's all they're waiting on. All of the necessary things, such as the loan agreement, all those are in place. Just seeking for one thing, one single thing, and that is that guarantee for that loan that we will want to move with shortly to get that project going. The other components of the project that are funded by this public-private partnership that we have fostered with Mr. Jai, that as far as I'm concerned is in place and ready to go. But this particular side of the project and the loan that covers the component on the land side, we are seeking to get that going, and we want to get going as soon as possible. So we leave that for now. We're running up to 1 o'clock quickly, and sometimes we have to spend time on certain issues because of the importance of those issues. And so we would have spent some time on that this afternoon, and I'll come back again next week. And if I have to come back the week after and the week after, I am hoping I don't have to. I'm hoping that we'll have this matter resolved in short order between now and next week, for example. It can be done. Because whereas it is being said that we will increase the national debt or the debt of the federal government beyond whatever threshold, the federal government trundles on every day, spending money, increasing the space on the overdraft and everything that is necessary to ensure that they are taking care of particular infrastructures in St. Kitts. we will pay back our money. We'll pay back our loan, which we have done and continue to do. And as I said before, the only time in our history when loans that were guaranteed by the federal government were not paid was during the period when the NRP party was in government between 2006 and early 2013. And then, of course, in 2009 or 10 thereabout, because they were not paying, because we would have racked up some bad debts, we were taken to the IMF. It's the only time in the history of Nevis would have had to go to the IMF and came under IMF conditions here in Nevis. Well, in St. Kitts as well, but I'm speaking about Nevis. The IMF. We have since gone beyond that, in that we have corrected those difficulties and the bad relationships that we would have developed during that period of time that the NRP was there. The fallout from those bad relationships have been rectified, and we as a government continue to honor our obligations to all of our creditors, whether locally, regionally, or internationally. Once Taiwan ICDF would have examined this particular project, they came, they saw, they examined, they realized that it is a needed project, a well-needed project, and the viability and also feasibility of it was understood. Then they had no difficulties whatsoever in approving this particular project. And so we wait, but we are becoming somewhat impatient at this point in time. And I don't want to say impatient to the point of being angry, because we're not there. And as a matter of fact, I am speaking with no anger in my tone. I'm speaking as a Nevisian who wants the best for Nevis, who see the upside of this project, and who see benefits in this project for Nevis and Nevisians. And that's all I'm concerned about at this particular point in time. Once this project is done, then we'll see the spin-off from it in terms of investment that emanates from this particular project. No one wants to come here to build a hotel at this point in time when they don't know how they'll get their guests to Nevis. I personally, from my standpoint, I would never invest money in a hotel, for example, when I don't know how my guests are going to get here. I can't tell my guests to go to Jamaica, go to St. Martin, go to Antigua, go to St. Kitts to get to Nevis, when in truth and in fact they can get those direct flights at this point in time. So why would I invest when I can't encourage the movements from Miami to Nevis, Atlanta to Nevis, Boston to Nevis, New York to Nevis? The entire eastern seaboard will be accessible to Nevis as a result. Yeah. Okay, there are a couple other issues that I wanted to touch on, but anyway, I'm going to leave them for next week. Just to say, before I close, I realize the NRP is up to its sham, scam, cataflam, whatever word you want to use. Because I understand, it is my understanding that the NRP is now through and through St. James and introducing someone over there as their new federal candidate, because the leader of the NRP, I understand, will not be contesting the upcoming federal elections. And so too, I understand the deputy leader will not be contesting the upcoming federal elections. I don't know. That is what I have been told, and that is what persons in the constituency over there are telling me. Now, why I bring that up is because this NRP party continues to mislead, to scam, sham, create cataflam in the minds of the people of Nevis. Now, they made noise and say they're not going to run in any federal elections, and they went against their own party's policy and ran in federal elections. The leaders of the NRP have all abandoned federal elections. So Simeon Daniel did back in his day. Joseph Parry did back in his day. I believe when this guy, what's his name, Hector, was the leader, when we had that 2020 election, he was not even here. He was somewhere in Marriott in St. Kitts on lockdown, or talking to his supporters via Zoom and so forth. So can't show seriousness in that. And then, of course, my understanding is that this current leader is telling herself she's not running also. Well, I'll pick it up some other time, because I think I hear some music in my ear. Yeah, just about. Yeah, just about 1 o'clock. Every time I get to start off a new issue, time runs out. It's now 2 o'clock, so I gotta run. So listen. Thanks for listening today. It was indeed my pleasure being here. I always say if you go to church on a Saturday, go to church and serve your God. If you go on Sunday, do likewise. Pray for this station, pray for me, pray for the island of Nevis, the island of St. Kitts, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and its leadership, so that we can make the right decision, apply some wisdom, and so that we can do the best for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. God bless you. Thanks for listening, and join us again next week, same time. I'll pick up this issue next week. I'll have more information on that. Thank you. Have a good one, and may God bless you. I'm running off to a funeral now. All the best. Enjoy the weekend.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited.